Like, let me call from another phone. It might just be my phone messing up. Call from another phone, disconnect. Doo-doo-doo. I'm like,
Hi, welcome back to the couch. We are happy to have y'all again. Today we're gonna dive into relationships. I know a lot of you may have a couple questions, concerns even, in your own life dealing with relationships, with your parents, with your friends, with your lovers or partners, you know. And all the time, I believe that relationships influence who we are. And sometimes that could be good and bad. So we're going to dive into both sides. Healthy relationships, not so healthy relationships, toxic, non-toxic. We're going to dive into them all. But I do want to start this conversation off with, how has your relationship, and you can answer this and write this down too because it's important. How is your relationship with your parents? How has it influenced your love life?
Well, damn, you know. We went in.
And it's a good question to ask yourselves because I've learned, and I can start, I've learned that watching my parents gave me a one-sided view of love, okay? It's definitely one-sided because that's all I grew up seeing, which was a healthy marriage. And it's healthy from my standpoint because what may be healthy to me may not be healthy to you.
That's a good point.
So from my standpoint as a child, I watched my mother take care of my father every single day. She was a stay-at-home mom. She raised all of us, my siblings, and she never missed a beat. Even if she did miss a beat, we never saw it. Mm-hmm. We ate home-cooked meals. I didn't know that there were boxed potatoes until I got out my parents' house because my mother made sure. We was slicing potatoes, tearing them greens. Nothing came from the box or the can. So my mom loved us in that way to where it was love, nurture, feeding, I mean, everything you can name. My mama did. And she didn't only do it for us, she did it for my father. So I watched a woman love on a man in every area all the time, okay? My dad loved my mother the same way. He worked, so he was not at home a lot, but when he was there, he was very present. And when he left, trust me, we even used to cry when my daddy used to leave to go to work. That's how much we loved him and loved him being around. They never missed a baseball game, a football game, a cheerlead. I don't care what, and we did everything growing up and my parents never missed anything. So I watched a marriage that wasn't perfect be perfect for them. And they're still married to this day. So to answer the question, my relationship with my parents taught me to overextend myself. It taught me to be a wife before I was one. It taught me to give when it wasn't deserved in a lot of ways. But it shaped who I am because I am a wife and I love that way. But now I've learned my boundaries to give it when it's given. And although my mom and daddy were raised in a whole different era, I've learned what love looks like when it's reciprocal, when they're working as a team. And I can't say that all my relationships have been that great. However, they've taught me so much about myself and what love really is. And my purpose for this episode is so that no matter what we go through in these relationships, good or bad, that we're not looking at love through the eyes of our trauma, okay? Mm-hmm. That we're actually going forth with new vision in love and in relationships, friendships, platonic, not like whatever that is. Because a relationship is just two people connecting, whether you're gonna be intimate or not. Okay? So that's what my parents taught me, that love is reciprocal and it's a team. It's a team. It's not one person doing everything. It's a team. So that's what my mommy and daddy taught me. Oh, stop it. Who wants to share?
I will.
Okay, Nod.
Let me get this out before I forget it. So I've had, I'm gonna say it's a blessing in the lesson of having relationships with my parents. With my biological dad, my relationship with him taught me to go into every relationship with a man as though I needed to fix him and heal him and care for him and nurture him until he was the man he needed to be for the next woman. And then my relationship with my mom and my stepdad, my dad, taught me patience, taught me that two people can have two different backgrounds, two different two educational levels, two different careers, and come together and work. It taught me respect for a man. It taught me to allow a man to be a man, even when you may feel like in your head or in your heart that you're not there yet. But it takes us to give those affirmations and to build him up, and to say it's okay. You don't have to carry everything on your own. To be a team, like Joy said, be a team player, be a team. Take what you know and add to him, and y'all make it work. So yeah, that's definitely what my parents, in a healthy way, have taught me. I don't really think I've taken anything toxic from them. But I definitely now model my man of choice behind my stepfather, who's my dad for sure. And that is, he's patient. He's a very patient guy. He's a very loving guy. He's a very fair guy. And so that is what I look for in a man now. That's what I want. That's what I'm going to have. That's what I will have. So yeah.
Okay.
That's what it taught me.
That's dope.
I can go next. I've been parented by different groups as well as my parents. Different groups meaning like my aunt and uncle. Those are my parents. Wow. And my grandmother was as well. But when she passed, then it was kind of like. But my mother figures were my grandmother and my aunt, and then. My parents have always been in my life, but the roles were a little different. So I'll say from my parents, I learned how not to be in something when you're unhappy. I feel like they verbalized and argued about things. They weren't listening, but they argued about everything. So that gave me like this weird thing in my mind of, oh, well, submission looks like you really don't say.
Ooh, girl.
You know, and then from my aunt and uncle who've been married so long, like that is the longest relationship that I know. You know, they got married when they were 17 and 19. They're in their 70s.
Oh, wow, that's beautiful.
And I watched my grandmother and my aunt when they would cook for the home. They would fix the plate and serve the man first. I learned how to be similar to you, Joy. I learned how to be a wife. I never saw a girlfriend. I never saw that. So still to this day, I feel like I'm learning how to be a girlfriend. Well, maybe no, I'm not. I don't know.
Trust me, I'm with you.
Yeah, I'm someone's partner, more so than anything. But anyway, so I learned how to take care of the household. And I will say that I learned how to not take care of myself first from them. But yeah, I definitely learned what longevity looks like, the patience of love and being able to do what you feel is best for your life. I watched my aunt and uncle do that and still have a healthy marriage. My aunt retired when I was in 6th grade. And she has been able to do everything that she's wanted to do, raising whoever she wanted to raise, go on whatever trips. And my uncle was always, sure, go for it. My uncle went to the Navy because that was his choice, retired from the working on the CSX train for however many umpteen years, but everybody did what they chose to do. And I saw that work in a relationship. So those are the examples of wife, longevity, patience, and what not to do. You know, like not being in a situation when you're unhappy. Yeah, so those are mine.
Because you're a wife, though.
I am.
Not run that question back.
What has your relationship with your parents taught you about love?
Okay. Well, I can't almost identify with you guys because my dad was usually the one that cooked and did the laundry. They both did it, but he was usually the one that kind of picked up. He wasn't a talkative man, really like a man of action. So the way he loved me was in teaching me. He taught me how to change the tire.
I love that.
You know, and his lesson was, all right, so you got a car, change the tire right now. I'm gonna show you one time. I'm like, all right, cool. And then the next morning, I'm thinking about to go somewhere. The tire was on the other side. He was like, you go somewhere, change the tire first. I'm like, Dad, really? But that was his way of preparing me because that's, well, growing up, he wasn't really touchy-feely with the girls. It was, I love y'all over there. You know, but it came from a past with my mother, and he wanted to put her mind at ease to be like, I love my children. I'm never going to touch y'all. You see what I'm saying? So in knowing that, it was him showing me things that, or information, because he's just a whole ball of wisdom, and him just pouring into me, okay, so this is what needs to be done. This one needs to be done. As far as like hardware and even software, he taught me about computers. So in trying to get in a relationship, I was going into having the mentality of male and female. So it was like, I can do everything that you can do. I can change my oil, I can do this, I can do this. So what exactly are you teaching me? What exactly are you giving to me? And I had to change my mindset because it wasn't that they weren't showing me love. It was just I had to figure out what exactly was blocking me from receiving it. And with my mom was more so the creative. She was more of the kid in the house. She was, let's draw on the walls, let's do this. So they were polar opposites. And I mean, my father was logical, strategic, and, you know, creative in his own way, but my mother was the more colorful one. So I had both dynamics kind of working for me. So going into a relationship, it was, well, which one do I do? Like, I can do it all for you. Here, have it all. And they're like, oh, that's a lot. Or they take it for granted. And it's just they're eating of my love, eating this and this. And I'm like, I'm pouring out and not receiving. And then also it was, I had to figure out why I was choosing these people. And I'm like, I always chose the ones that I could do for. I'm going to do for. I love you this way because that's how I love you. I love you through my actions. I don't always say it in words because I don't know how to always articulate how I feel. And I didn't learn that until early on, like later on these last few years, like, oh, that's what that emotion is. Got it. Cool. So I had to learn to speak my heart and know what my heart was saying first to me. And then love me and then love you. And with my parents, because they were polar opposites, their communication wasn't the best, but they still showed, you know, that love. They were still there for each other. You know, it was the caretaking what you need, baby. And it was just, I got you. Or it was always that. It was never lack. So going into any relationship, it was, you're never going to lack from me, ever. I want you to know that I'm here.
100%. I don't care what's going on. Well, I'm doing this under, I remember being in a relationship to where I stayed in because I thought he didn't have anybody. And I would be helping him through.
Your mic.
Huh?
Oh,
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I just don't want you to keep
Could be. And I remember picking him off the side of the road from being drunk and driving and taking care of him. And it was always...
No matter the time.
It didn't matter. 3 o'clock, I'm there. That's just what it was. Because if I love you, I'm going to show you with no boundary. Just everything. And that's how my dad was. Love you without boundary, everything. But it even took a toll on him. You see what I'm saying? And I didn't even realize that until I started to talk to him as an adult. Like, oh, Dad, you didn't like doing that? He was like, no, it just needed to be done. I hate it. I was like, well, why'd you do it? Because I love you.
Mm-hmm.
So what exactly is the definition of love? And still, I mean, I'm still learning.
Yeah, we all
are.
You know, just learning when to give, when to take, when to have that balance of, well, am I asking for too much? No, you're not asking for too much, but are you? But it should be some type of equal reciprocation of it, right? Like, because I'm always, as far as it goes,
that's the
I'm
definition.
Teamwork.
A healthy balance of give and take.
Yep.
Yeah, and you know, I'm still working on it. But yeah, they taught me toxic and healthy love, and I had to realize what worked for me, and what is healthy for me, or what is toxic for me may not have been for you, like you said. And even growing up, when you say, you know, your dad came home, y'all was crying, I was like, what?
Oh yeah, we sat on my daddy's lap.
See, and I never knew that was a thing until I met you.
My daddy loved me down, like all the girls. Like we definitely shared dad and would fight over him for sure.
Yeah, like she sat on her dad's lap. I was like, what is going on?
And how old was I when I sat on his lap?
I was like 20 something.
Because that's my daddy.
And then I went and sat on my dad's lap that same day. He was like, wait a minute, what's going on? I'm loving on you.
Because I said, just go sit with your dad.
What is this?
Yep.
But now, because I've started to interact, he loves affection. It had to be an open door, like, oh, I can. So now I just give him a hug, give him some sugar. Like, you can give me no hug today. Oh, come here, man. You know I love you.
And he's asking, so that's some progress too.
He is. Yeah, and my mother is just all nothing but affection. I mean, pure just energy-ish and love.
That's dope.
But yeah.
Jasmine?
Smokey?
Yeah, y'all, that's why I went last. I'm still thinking. What did I learn about love from my relationship with my parents? So my parents got divorced when I was really young, so like around 6. And even when they were together, they didn't like each other. Like my mom was definitely annoyed by my dad, and my dad was definitely not an easy person to deal with. So yeah, love and affection was not something that I really even understood. Like, I remember the first little boy I dated in church. I was like, Mom, we go together. And she was like, where y'all going? Or what does this mean? Like, it was just completely random. But I'm like, yeah. But I don't think I actually liked him. I just thought it was something you did. Like, okay, he worship God. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. It's cool.
He sang.
Right, he sang for the Lord. You know, it was cool. But I remember one time we were at the mall, he wanted to hold my hand, and I was like, people know we together. Like, we ain't got to hold hands. Like, I did not understand affection in that way. And so now being an adult, I think with even my parents, they spend a lot of time on their own. My mom is very private. I'm going to say she was dating a guy for 2 years, and I want to say I met him once and by the mailbox. Okay.
I love that though.
My mother is really, really private. So I can say I'm learning a lot on my own. I'm figuring out, like, that's what I'm learning, that I want love and I desire love and I'm worthy of it. And even if I have to figure out what that looks like for me, like forget Hallmark, forget Disney, forget the things. And that's what I would say. I didn't learn it from my parents, so I dived into Disney. Okay, he need to look like, you know, nice teeth, chiseled, you know, chiseled shoulders, chest, because that, you know, that's what I'm looking for. What does love look like? But now I'm realizing, what does love feel like?
Yes.
So when I was growing up, it's like the attractive person, is he tall? Is he chocolate? Does this person do this, do that? All these physical things. And then I get in it and be like, okay, so where's the other stuff? Like, you know, if you write down on your list, you want someone that's attractive, but what about, you know, self-accountability? What about self-awareness? Are they compassionate? Are they kind?
Mindful.
And so what I learned from the relationship with my parents and the way that love was not existent, I realized how much I do desire it, how much I do want it. And there's no blueprint to any of this stuff anyway. You know, everybody learns from a different perspective, but I'm slowly putting together, like, what does love look like for me? And not even just the look. What does it feel like? Do I feel safe? And I like to equate it to, does it feel like a hot bath water, you know, that you can slide into? It's not supposed to be difficult and challenging. Like, you'll meet, you know, you'll have, you know, conversations and disappointment or whatever the case is, but you're not supposed to be fighting and struggling in that ride or die. Can I cuss on the couch?
Yes, you can.
Okay. Ride or die. Like, why we gotta, where we riding to and why we gotta die? Like, I got questions.
I don't want to get in the car. If it ends in dying, I'm good.
Where are we going? So I'm learning that from the void that was felt of not having that type of love, you know, I just knew work. I knew how to work. I knew how to organize. I knew how to get shit done. But the romantic side, all of that stuff, I am still learning to this day, and showing myself grace in that space, to be okay with not knowing. And whomever I'm sharing space with, like with my partner now, of being like, hey, I actually don't know how to do this at all. Like, learning that it's okay to practice and say, I don't know this and I'd like to learn this, and being okay with being a kid. I'm a mom and an entrepreneur, and so I feel like I always have this hat of, I have to know how to do these things. And it's really nice to take the back seat to be like, I don't know.
No, I can't.
I can't. Doesn't confusion.
Wow, that's amazing.
So yeah, so I'm learning.
Such a different perspective. Everybody has different perspectives and different ways that love was like shown in their homes. And I know for me, I think just listening to all of you have this almost like this space to know men. And I knew my daddy, okay? Don't get it twisted. And to know what love looks like and to feel it, I can say that I felt it all the time. So I wasn't really in Disney, even as a kid. It was cute, but I guess because my dad was like my first like example of feeling that. And it's funny because when you were talking, I'm like, dang, I've been searching for that moment or that feeling for a very long time. The feeling of when my dad used to be like, turn the TV off, turn on some jazz, because we were Christian, so he didn't do the R&B thing, but he would turn on some jazz and he would dance with us individually, the girls. He would dance with us in the living room.
Beautiful.
So we all looked forward to this moment of him dancing with us, okay? And I remember having to be last. And if anybody knows me, I don't want to be last, okay? I want to be first. And I remember, I'm just being honest. And my daddy let all my sisters go. And I sat on the couch and I was boohoo crying, y'all, like a big old baby, because I was a baby. But when he picked me up while I was crying, it told me it's enough love to share joy. Like, you don't have to, like, everybody needs this. And the way that he held me while I was crying, I ended up not crying, I ended up laughing, and it was like the joke. But it's that feeling of I can cry and be spoiled and still get love in abundance. And not looked at as, oh, we're not giving her nothing. Oh, we're not giving her anything. That feeling was like, I went, after I left the house, I went looking for that feeling in my relationships. Like, oh, he gonna love me regardless. He gonna be, I know he gonna love me, because that's just what men do. That's what they do. What man don't love in the moment, segue. The moment I got rejected, my life changed. I went to my dad. He was like, why did you do that to me? And he was like, what did I do? And I mean, my dad was the one where a boy told me he didn't like me at school. And my daddy like showed up. And I was like, didn't know how to take that. He didn't like me. And my daddy was like, you'll never have a problem with me and Joy. Relax. So my dad was always that constant, like pole of masculinity. Like he was just always that. So I really went out looking for that same sturdiness, that groundedness in men that they weren't even capable of giving, because they never had anybody be sturdy or great for them, you know? Right. So once I left the house is when I learned about rejection. I learned about neglect. And I was upset with my parents because they showed me the good stuff, but didn't show me the bad stuff.
Dang. That's so hard because when you live in it, rejection, all of that was in the house. Like I felt rejected by my dad was my first bully.
Wow.
Exactly.
Okay?
Exactly.
So when I got into the world, rejection still wasn't much easier, but I had already known it. And I will say, I think that's what makes me a great entrepreneur. You can tell me no, and I'm like, okay, cool.
You see, well, I'm gonna do you tell me no, I'll be like,
but I still feel it. It goes through my body.
Definitely.
Oh, I'm a big baby. My feelings are hurt when I am rejected. But it's like, I chew it up, spit it out, and I turn it into something else. Like, I give myself a few little minutes to sit with it, like, okay, this hurt real bad. And then I turn and do something
Take
else.
that one on the chin, friend. Just take
But that is so sweet that you got to live in and experience that, but I can still understand the other side of like, okay, so, you know, and I'm listening to that, even being a mom, like of the kind of world I create for my children of, I take those moments to do that with my kids, you know, taking the time to, you know, we're going to build volcanoes together and but how do I prepare them when they do go out there in the world and everybody's not addressing them as sweetly or kindly, and I can't fix that. So it's like you need both the shadow and the light.
And I know with Paulie, I make sure, even with my partner and his children, I make sure that when something bad is happening, or even just as small as, I feel sick today, I can't go to school. No, because you're gonna be sick and it's gonna be sick days and you're gonna have to get up. Or he gonna break your heart and you still gonna have to show up to your show to do a whole show. Or you may love this man. And he might love 10 other women. But you have to show up for yourself and be like, because bad relationships, boy, I'll be out for 2 weeks. I ain't doing nothing.
I mean.
Oh, yeah, you shut down. It's like a rock.
Hey.
Because no one taught me the tools to get over it quicker or know that this is normal. Or
that's the part.
That's the thing.
Okay.
Know that it's normal because there's no tool to get over it. And there's no time.
Do y'all hear this?
You don't just become on the other side of it. You have to go through it.
We had this conversation, my partner and I, yesterday. I said something that offended him, and he went off, like kept going. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, you done? And I'm talking like this, and he's yelling on the phone, and he's sending me voice audios yelling, and I'm like, all right. And then when I didn't give him back that same energy he gave me, then it was, I'm sorry. You didn't deserve for me to talk like that. Even if you triggered me, you didn't deserve me handling you that way. I apologize. And I was like, I accept your apology, but I don't accept your actions. So give me a moment to get over that. And however long that is, that's however long that is. Because you need to know, and I need to set that boundary for you, that you acting out like that is unacceptable. And I reversed something on him.
I want to stop you, just for some women out there. How did you become that comfortable to tell a man, I'm not doing that, or we not doing that?
So in this same relationship,
I've had an issue with this.
Same partnership.
Could just be me.
He taught me to say how I feel. To say how I feel, but say it out of love.
So you weren't always that open?
No, I was never that open. It was just like I take it on the chin, and and make sure they're happy. Make sure they're happy with whatever I'm providing them or whatever I'm giving them, and put myself on the back burner. Now in my relationship, I'm going to put my feelings first. I'm going to put my health first, my peace first, my joy first, and I'm going to consider you in that. And if what you're doing or what you're saying to me doesn't feel good to me, I'm going to tell you that. And you have in that moment to fix it, not tomorrow. You have in that moment to fix it and address me differently and handle me differently, because I'm going to give you that back. I'm going to love you. I'm going to tell you no. I'm going to tell you that disappointed me, that hurted me, but in a loving way.
And don't be afraid too, because in that I used to be so afraid to speak up because I was afraid of losing the person.
That's what I was about to say. You can't be afraid to lose the person.
I used to be so afraid in my relationships to lose them. But the only reason why I was afraid to lose them goes way back to what I was talking about, my parent relationship, because I always thought once I got in that relationship, that was it. We holding each other down is it. And I've been in some pretty mentally abusive relationships, okay?
Hold up on them.
And the truth, and it will lead you down a path of not knowing when to speak up when you're supposed to be speaking up. And I can say for me, I've learned to speak up after my best friend, we sat on her porch and we gave a name to the reason I wasn't speaking up. And it was codependency. And she said, once I gave it a name, she said, Joy, once you give it a name, it's coming out.
Yes.
And it came out.
It did. It did.
And I attracted the love that loves me.
Yeah.
Y'all. I'm telling you.
Beautiful.
I'm telling you.
You gotta sit
works.
in that pain. Don't run from it.
And sit with your tribe too. And be honest.
Absolutely.
I depend on everything and everybody. And I didn't want to do that anymore. I wanted to look at myself and go, we can do this. And then whoever got the results of that, we can all enjoy it. But I wanted to be the one that was like in control of my life. And my relationships led me down some pretty lonely journeys.
See, I was the opposite. It was, I was just independent. I didn't need you. You were here because I wanted you here. And that's why it was difficult to the receiving of it. Because it's like, well, what can I do for you? I'm like, I got it. What you want me to do? No. It was.
Where are you now?
Oh, honey, bathe me. Bathe me on the blessings and grace, please.
I think we all take
give it. Because I know I'm deserving of it. I know I can do it.
Absolutely.
It's the opportunity that I don't have to. And you love me enough to do it for me. And it's out of love. I never wanted to be in a relationship, to be any relationship, that it had to be mandatory. I got to do this for you because no. Don't feel obligated to do anything for me, because now you're not moving in love at all. I don't want you to do it. If you're moving in love, hey, by all means, shower me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it absolutely feels different.
And I think, too, what you said, Jasmine, is very, very true for people like us who grew up without that warm, fuzzy nest in the home of love. Like, we didn't grow up in a love bubble. I feel like you do search sometimes harder. Well, I'll say I found myself searching maybe harder than I needed to find what I didn't get at home. And I mean, I'm very thankful for my parents. They got divorced I was 6 as well. But my mom, like, I've been an adult since I was 16. Like, adult as in everything that you need, you old enough to work, you can get it.
Figure
Girl,
it out.
I was 10 at 16.
And even when, like, in middle school, like, I learned how to, I was washing clothes and cooking food at middle school. So by the time I was buying school clothes for my brother and I, you know, so the whole, you know, you're very motherly. I've had a child since, my mom, I feel like is my child in a lot of ways. So, but I said all that to say, I feel like you find yourself searching for the things that you may not have gotten in the beginning, whether that was good or bad, maybe intentionally or unintentionally. Because even being afraid to speak up, because I heard so much verbal, I was like, maybe I'm not supposed to say something because all that didn't work. And then that was wrong too, because never speaking up for yourself and then allowing it to compile and then you just explode.
Yeah.
But at the explosion, there's no coming back.
Oh, no.
You know, or then doing the opposite of doing too much. So finding that balance of what love is, of not giving too much or not being so dependent, I think that is just the beautiful journey of, you know,
Self-discovery.
Yeah, it is.
Hi, welcome back to The Couch with Joy. Thank y'all again for joining me. We're gonna dive right into it because this is a pretty dope subject. I allow people to go to my website and send me questions, stories, anything. If they need advice or need answers, they can hit me up, right? So if you go to creativeenergy.life, you could do the same. Send me your questions and I'm here to help you out in anything, okay? So I wanna share a question that I got from one of my people. I call them my people. And we're gonna dive into it. So she says, how do women balance the masculine and feminine energy that comes with building, creating, and managing our businesses and families? As a woman, I naturally want to be soft and delicate. But lately I've noticed how much I've had to step into my divine masculine as a protective defense mechanism that honestly only serves me well at work. And that's only sometimes. Putting it down hasn't always been the easiest thing to do, especially when you're always being pulled on to dictate, call shots, and calm other spheres when yours are raging. How can we balance, and how can we make sure our divine feminine isn't left in the cold? Y'all, when I read that, I was like, yes. Y'all, this is important. We have to learn how to balance that divine feminine energy because the world needs it. If everybody's hard up, then who's gonna love and nurture whoever needs to be nurtured back to life? And that's what women are really here for. Divine feminine energy is free, it's flowing, it's creative, it likes to be. And that divine masculine energy is very powerful. It is strong, it is logic. It's like the stiff pole that women dance around, literally, and how beautiful and how she's flowing, and it looks like art, but the pole never moves and she knows that it's not gonna go anywhere. And that's literally how the energies are within our bodies. That masculine grounds us and that feminine keeps us airy and flowy and free. And we have to protect that and keep it. So I have a few ways in which you can keep that feminine energy going and not lose it. My first thing is indulge in self-reflection. Start to really look at who you are. When you're feeling like, and I've been there, I'm building and I'm creating things and it's time consuming. It really, really is. And I have to really sit sometimes, like when I feel like when I'm feeling not so womanly, I'll say that, not so feminine. And working can get you there. Because you have to call the shots. You have to say, hey, I want this here. You have to be sure it's not free and flowing sometimes. We got to get it done. And as women, we want to be able to drop that. And sometimes when we do it so much, it's hard to. So self-reflection, you sitting in the mirror and going, this is a beautiful woman in front of me. And bringing and calling yourself back to it. Call yourself back to it. It's not the easiest thing to do at the beginning, especially when you've been working for a very long time, or working on anything or creating anything or managing a family and you holding anything that you're doing that has left your divine feminine in the cold. We just gonna call it on back. Okay? So self-reflection, indulge in it. Ask yourself, who are you? What does your life mean to you as a woman? And feel that, okay? That's the first one. So write that down. Indulge in self-reflection. Number 2, embrace receiving. As women with the overly masculine energy, and that doesn't mean manly, like, you know, how people make it seem, but when your logical person is outshining the playful person. You know, that's why we're not gonna go that far. When your logical person outshines that playful person, we just need to balance it. We need to balance it. We can't just leave this playfulness out and only do work. It's not healthy for you. So, embrace receiving. As women, we are natural receivers. It's how we were created. We were created to receive. And when we start giving, which is what we do naturally as well, we give. It's okay to receive sometimes. And when we're in a position as the boss or the CEO or the founder of, we are so used to giving instructions and giving our goals and giving the vision and making sure that everybody's following suit. It is time for you to sit and receive. And that can be love. Receive the love when people see you working hard and they go, hey, let me help you out. Receive it. Don't say, I got it. In this season, we're gonna start receiving. We're gonna start receiving the help that we've been praying for and been seeking. And we deserve it. You deserve it. You deserve that help. So we're gonna embrace receiving. So indulge in self-reflection and start embracing receiving. You deserve to get the love, the support, the money. You deserve it, okay? So number 3, be playful and spontaneous. When you start noticing that you're not feeling playful, go play. Go do something you like to do. We all need rest, and that means rest from work, rest from stress, rest from it all. Take some time to be spontaneous and just be like, you know what? I'm not gonna do this today. I'm gonna go to the park and walk. Or I'm gonna go to that paint shop that I like to go buy paintings. Or I'm gonna go buy me a plant. That's what I do. I'm real spontaneous with the plant buying. It gets out of hand sometimes. But be spontaneous and playful, because that feminine energy is playful. That's why men love us so much. Because we're playful. Anywho, be playful, and not because it's productive or you got to do it for Instagram or something. Be playful just because. Be spontaneous just because. Do something out the ordinary that you just love to do, okay? So, indulge in self-reflection, embrace receiving, and be playful and spontaneous. Number 4, you have to dive into your femininity. You got to dive into that word, okay? How do I dive into that, Joy? I'm hard up right now. I feel like I'm the boss. I feel like I'm being the man. I feel like I'm taking on too much. For you, who sent me that story, beautiful though, you know, because you express yourself perfectly. And when you know how you really feel and you're tapped into your emotions about it, I'm telling you, all the answers come. So when you dive into your feminine side, what does that look like? I got a friend, Jasmine. She taught me how to dive into mine. And literally, she wears heels. Heels was my first knock on. Ooh, boy. I'm diving into that feminine energy now. You feel different when you put on some heels. Wear some heels. And I mean, she had on heels while she was loading the dishwasher. And I was like, I'm doing that. And I promise you, the more I did it, I became softer. And even on days where I just felt this is gonna be a meeting, I know I'm gonna dive into my masculine a bit more than I would like right now, I put on something really nice. I put on something real sexy, really sexy, you know? And make sure that part of me when I walk in is still, both of them are balanced. And I mean, when they're balanced, y'all, you are empowered beyond no end. When you can, and they're in there together, it's amazing. And it's an amazing feeling. And you can accomplish a lot when they're not off balance. So diving into that is hanging out with girlfriends, putting on those heels, putting on some sexy music to get you in the mood of you, yeah? And show compassion. That's who we, like when we show compassion or we helping a girlfriend, that's you diving into that. That's you tapping into it, you know? So stay there, dive into your feminine energy. Do not forget that she exists. Do not forget that she exists. She is there and she loves to come on out. Okay? Women, when their masculine energy is a bit too much, we can be very rude and just kind of standoffish, like, nah, you know how that is. And we don't want that energy. So when they're balanced, you're right where you need to be, okay? If you're having issues balancing, and you may have way too much feminine and not enough masculine, or maybe a whole lot of masculine and not enough feminine, and you say, Joe, I just want it to be even. I want to be able to handle both. I am here to help you, and we can help you on that journey of becoming balanced all the way around. Hit my website and book you a session with me, a coaching session. We're an individual session, and we'll get you together. I'm gonna put you in some heels, though, I'm telling you now. If you want any person, okay, because I'm here for all people. If you want your feminine energy to be up, I got something for you. I sure do. So y'all hit me up, and I hope that this has helped. Can I say them again? We're gonna indulge in self-reflection. We're gonna embrace receiving. It's okay to receive sometimes and not just give. We're gonna be playful and spontaneous, and we're gonna dive into feminine energy. That's what we're gonna do, okay? So I hope this helped you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Peace. I think it's dope, relationship-wise. Not just romantic relationships, but even just my individual relationships and collective relationship with these ladies on the couch. It's important for you to find your sisterhood, y'all.
Yes, God.
It's important. Only because the way I was brought up was totally opposite from how they were brought up. And all my friends in the beginning, and I love y'all still, were church girls. And I noticed early on that I wanted something different. So your friends are reflections of you. And don't be afraid to go around women who will challenge you to be better. Each of them have made me cry in their own loving way, because I was taught to love in that way, and they were taught to, hey, hold up. And I needed some hold up.
And we needed some be loved.
Be loved. We needed that.
You taught me to let people take care of me.
Right,
like, Jasmine, let people serve you. And I'm like, serve me. Like, somebody want to buy you a gift. And I didn't have to do anything. It was a mentality change. Like, I literally didn't chase after men or anything differently. It was literally like, oh, I can receive. Next thing you know, flowers, stuff popping up. Like, what is happening?
Absolutely.
Right. She's still learning.
She's like, he wants to do this for you, but I can do it. So what? You're right. You're right.
Be loved.
This feels good.
And it could be because I still, right now, for some reason, I hear my older sister in my head telling my mama, and I'm telling y'all, and this is my mama, I love you. Because I definitely told my mom we were doing this, and she was like, don't you mention me, but that's that mama stuff. But I can hear my sister telling her, they can run their own bath water. That's how my mama used to do us, y'all. She used to be like, they 16, they can wash their own clothes. My mama did everything. The boys in my house, if you were a man and you walked in the house, me, Ashley, my mama, we were going to take care of you.
Wow.
We would make plates. We would.
But I'm still like that with my brother.
You know?
Oh, yeah, still like that with my
Yeah, but then it's weird for me to not see my
plate.
sister do that. And that's just not how she was raised.
Correct.
So when I'm at their house, if I'm cooking, you eat, you good? Like, do you want to eat now? I know you're working, but do you want to eat now? That is, I can't help it. You know, but it's...
Okay, before we end too, y'all, we're going to go back to rejection. What's name one time y'all were rejected. We ain't got to make it long, but I want to go first. This is the line that I heard after I was rejected and ghosted. Me and this guy, we went out and it was great, okay? It was, when I say we clicked, we text every day, called every day in the mornings. He would wake up at the crack of dawn, and I would definitely, that would be our connection before workout, before meditation. And it was going great, y'all. We met up, we had dates and dinners and things. And all of a sudden, the man just stopped.
My God.
Just nothing, just ghosted me. And then when I reached out and I asked a few questions, and I know some of you ladies have done this after you've been ghosted, because I know I'm not alone. I can't be. After you've been ghosted, I just asked, hey, was there something I said?
Yeah.
Is there anything we could do to communicate better? And what did I do? What did you, where'd you go? I was asking just the regular questions, just trying to figure it out. And this man said, take care, keep climbing.
My. What a response.
That was the last text, y'all, after being ghosted. He said, take care and keep climbing. So my friend Nadia right here said, friend, take that ladder and just climb on. But that rejection hit me so hard, y'all. Because I be loving love. I love it. I love when a man is a man. And I love being a feminine, soft, sensual woman. Okay? So when I find that groove and we dancing with the masculine and the feminine, I mean, and we just in there, that you just stop it. That it took me a minute to get over that one. Mm-hmm. And but now I'm better. Because real love lives here now.
Yeah.
In the name.
Okay? In the name. So what's y'all like worst time? Have y'all ever been ghosted?
Yes,
Yeah.
I was ghosted. I was ghosted twice.
What did he say? What's the last thing the man said?
We had a night. I drove to North Carolina to spend the weekend with this man. And came back to Atlanta thinking everything was good. Called him a couple days later. Phone disconnected. Ooh. Phone number.
Shut up.
And we were dating for 8 months. Phone number disconnected. I'm like, let me call from another phone. It might just be my phone messing up. Call from another phone, disconnect. Doo-doo-doo.
Jesus.
So I called his job and his secretary answered. And I said, could you forward me over to his desk, please? And she did it, and he answered, and he said, hey, what's up? I said, hey, are you okay? He said, nah, I'm not okay. I said, well, does you not being okay have anything to do with me? He said, nah, it's just a lie. I said, so the reason you changed your phone number, the reason you just completely went off the grid had nothing to do with me, right? He said, no. I said, okay.
And that was it. That's how narcissists are, though. Them boys never want to be accountable. They never do. And after this, we're going to give ways on how we dealt with that rejection. I know for me, I have to remind myself of who I am in those moments. And it takes days for me. You know, I don't bounce back like that. I don't know anyone who does. It take a few days for me to get over a little take care, keep climbing after I done gave myself and my time and resources to you. So if any woman is dealing with rejection right now, I denounce it. And I need y'all to look in the mirror and remind yourself of who you are and how beautiful you are, and know that if you start getting yourself together on the inside, you'll attract the love that you're desiring. From relationships, friendships, and deserve. Because we all deserve to be loved in abundance, in like this full way.
That's true. I'm gonna piggyback off that, friend. And understanding that rejection sometimes is that. Because they're not supposed to be in your space. And so sometimes we can't determine how they will exit that space, but they were not supposed to be in y'all's lives. And so sometimes it is hard because you're like, that's mine. I want this. Or you want the feeling, you want it so bad, but it's like, wait a minute, think about the contents of that thing. Do you really want someone that can just disappear like that? Do you really want someone that can just disconnect? Right. So when they leave, give yourself a moment to sit in and feel that. And what I tell my clients is like, the pain after a rejection or a breakup is the most fertile time that you have, because you have more clearly than ever what you don't want, what you don't want to feel. So that's when you write this list. I don't want this. I don't like to be treated like this. Da 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 da. Get all the icky stuff out. Your dark list. Get that out. What you don't want. Once you get that out, inhale, exhale. Then you move to your other list. What do you want to feel? I want to feel seen. I want somebody that communicates with me. It's the power of using your words. Write them down, say them aloud. And when people want to go, you have to let go.
Yes,
it's uncomfortable. But what we were saying earlier with like codependency, if you know, that's why having time to yourself is so important. Learning your own routine, your music, like what does your day look like when it's not consisted of taking care of other people? You know, when you brush your teeth, you wash your face, you put your clothes on, you smell good, you go work out. Like, what does that look like? And how peaceful that is. Knowing that if someone decides to leave, you're like, okay, it's gonna hurt. But you know, there is a place that I have by myself that's really cool that I still like. So, okay, I'm gonna be all right. I'm gonna be all right. So always having your ground zero at a space where you are good with yourself, with your self-care routine, with your own schedule, because we don't own nobody.
No, and they come and go.
Yeah.
I want to talk about, you said about ghosting and rejection. I know we've been talking about, you know, I guess love relationships and some romantic relationships, but I'll speak about rejection and being ghosted as a friend. I know I'm a great friend.
We're just gonna go ahead and put that out there. Don't worry about it.
I'm just gonna say that. And I had a friend who, you know, once she came into my life, it became a every day. Like we spoke every day, multiple times a day, you know, day, night, whatever. And looking back on it, she consumed a lot of my time, but I didn't realize that at the time. And then it was something that really didn't even make sense. The reason why she just stopped talking to me. And yeah, I just let her have her whatever. And I'm glad that it hurt at first, but I knew it wasn't about me and I let her go. And then this beautiful circle of women just
appeared.
Right at the right time. So I don't want to, you know, but letting that one go, she wasn't supposed to go to the top with me, but I got these ones.
Hello.
So,
So we're gonna wrap it up about relationships, but I hope that this helps you guys in some way to know that you're not alone. Everybody deals with the trauma of their past and how it's affecting us now. So I hope that something was said today to empower you to get up off that couch and do some self-care and love yourself better and try to attract better relationships, healthy relationships.
they're there.
Thank y'all for joining the couch. Love y'all.
Come
on. Let me tell y'all, the food smelling good. I know y'all heard them pots I know y'all heard the clinking in the bag, but y'all can't smell
This
it.
is my best friend, y'all, along with these ladies. And my other best friend's not here. This is my best friend, Chassie. She's the best cook ever.
So good.
She has been my personal chef. She has been personal chefs for my friends, and I am glad that she can join us here on the couch.
So excited.
It's Red Potatoes Catering.
Red Potatoes.
Instagram stuff so they can follow you.
Okay, yes, my Instagram is It's Red Potatoes. My name is Chassie. This is my best friend. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, I'm sitting here doing all this. I'm like, these girls are so pretty. I'm saying that. I'm like, this is so nice. This is so nice.
Thank you for
We was
coming.
just saying, of
Yes.
course. We was just saying, he was like, I love this whole setup. I'm like, I know, I would be here if I wasn't doing this. I would be
Yes.
here.
It will be
I
open
would
to
be
other women
here.
the next few times. So I gotta put my email in.
Yeah, we gotta see and do all this. But yeah, let me let y'all have it.
Thank you.